I've got Charlie Angus here, member of the Canadian House of Commons. You know his video that went viral here on the MeidasTouch network, where he gave that speech pushing back against Donald Trump, saying, "You don't bully Canada, Donald Trump." Mr. Angus, what's the latest? What do you want to say to Donald Trump?
Well, listen, Mr. Trump, right now you're trying to shut down the American economy for Christmas. I mean, who does that? And what? Because Elon told you to do that? Like, you are plunging your nation and your people into a world of hurt. And so what are you doing? You decided you're going to pick on your quiet next door neighbor. That's like going to the librarian down the street and shouting at them to divert attention because the cops are after you. No, we're not going to put up with it, Donald. Here's the thing. We've got the world's longest undefended border. We got $100 billion worth of trade. We've got just-in-time delivery going back and forth all across the border. And you want to put not just Canada, but your own citizens in a world of hurt? What? To look like you're tougher than us? Well, go for it. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot of people on both sides. But the message that I'm hearing from people across Canada is they're not afraid of you because they know you're a convicted felon. They know that all the people that you bring in to run your organization right now, and I call it an organization rather than a government, are all grifters and thieves and thugs. We got to look after our own interests right now. We will work with your country. We will work with our great neighbors. But Donald, don't push us around.
You know, I've been seeing since you gave that speech on the House of Commons now a week or two ago. It was interesting because, there wasn't people and where people really galvanized, and it was such a strange period. Trump was making these posts, but I don't know. I noticed a difference on kind of Canadian social media spheres of people saying, we're enough. We're not being bullied by Trump. Are you seeing that outside of those spheres, though, when you're walking around? I mean, are Canadians just fed up and pissed at Trump, or is it still fractured? Well, some people like being bullied, others don't like being bullied. What are you seeing?
Well, absolutely. Since I took on Trump in the House of Commons, which, some people pay attention to the House of Commons, some people don't, but I've been getting more and more shout outs. I've decided I'm going to start to call out Trump. I know it sounds immature. Maybe he's not going to pay attention to an MP from Northern Canada. But what people want to hear right now is they want to hear that we're not afraid to stand up for our values. All the issues about the trade war and what that looks like and how we negotiate. Those are all stuff that we can talk about and we certainly can plan for, but it's a fundamental question of values. So I'm back here. I'm out of the capital. I'm back here on my home ground in a little mining town in deep snow, -20. And blue collar guys are just coming up to me on the street and giving me the fist bump. The amount of people who are watching and looking for leaders right now to say, wait a minute, no, don't push us around. Don't insult our country. Don't say that we're the 51st state. We're not that, and we're not going to put up with it. They want to hear that from leaders. So there's a huge opportunity right now in Canada, huge opportunity to show some leadership, or we can just descend into gong show politics like we're seeing in too many democracies right now that are not planning and thinking about standing up to the Trump, Steve Bannon, Elon Musk agenda. And we all need to be there. But I'll tell you, ordinary citizens, blue collar people, working people, I'm getting tons of response from, and I'm getting it from across the United States, which is something I've never seen before as well, because I think a lot of Americans don't like the bully.
What's interesting too, right? Before Trump came back into power, the leader of the opposition Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, PP, Maple MAGA, as it's often been referred to, they were talking, walking, sounding a lot like Trump. But then Trump came out with these statements and kind of made them look pretty foolish for all of their support of him. And they were like, but Donald, we're not Mexico, and you would hear people like that say that. So now they're kind of changing their rhetoric, it seems, to act like they're strong and standing up to Donald Trump. The NDP, the party that you're a part of, has from the outset when Trump won the election has been very tough. I think Jagmeet Singh came out with the statement, do not bully us kind of right away. And then you have Justin Trudeau, who is, kind of, saying that what he's trying to do is be diplomatic, but not push it too much, but stand up, but there will be retaliatory tariffs. And then his finance minister resigned abruptly after he told her basically to resign in a very public way. So there's a lot of chaos, but it all kind of seems around how do we stop Trump, not how do we help Trump. It seems rooted in like, what is that going to look like? Am I wrong about that? Tell me about the Gong Show. What do you see?
Well, I think my concern is, and I feel like Cassandra shouting about what's coming. I feel like our parliament is a bunch of kids who went to the beach on a school trip and got into a schoolyard fight and started throwing sand at each other. And everybody's running off the beach yelling the tsunami's coming, but everybody's going mano a mano in parliament, bumping chests and ignoring the tsunami. This is my real concern. Pierre Poilievre, Mega Maple, has been running on disinformation, running on that conspiracy playbook, attacking independent media consistently. This man's not fit to run our country at this time. I think the longer he's in with Trump, or the longer he's having to explain Trump, people are going to start to see that these are not the policies that will stand up to Trump. The problem with Trudeau, I think he's probably would have been a great negotiator in 2012, but we don't live in 2012 anymore. So he's been out of his depth. There's been an internal Gong Show going on, a turf war with the Liberals. So when we need to look strong, they're looking disorganized. This was my frustration this week, saying to the Trudeau government, you got to stop fighting amongst yourselves and actually present a vision, because now we have our individual provincial premiers out shooting their mouths off. That's not a good response. You don't negotiate with a bully like Trump by being disorganized and just throwing anything out there and hoping that something sticks. My frustration with my own party is like, let's stop focusing on who's in the Liberal, who gets to sit in the fancy Liberal seats. Let's put a plan out for Canadians right now. Canadians want us to show that we understand the seriousness, that we're not afraid, and it's going to involve a lot of tough decisions. But instead of focusing on the tough decisions, it seems we're all deciding who gets to sit in the fancy, comfy chairs in Parliament.
You talk about some of these tactics may have been suitable for 2012. It's just so funny hearing you say that, because sometimes my critiques on the Democratic Party here is, that's nice during those set of rules. But you realize, like, what Trump and MAGA are doing now, they're not playing by that rule book here. So tell us, Charlie, 2024, what do you, if you were in charge of it all, what do you believe the rule book is? And what do you tell all Canadians? What should be done right now in Canada to oppose Donald Trump?
Well, I think that we need to look at what's happened around the globe in terms of the threat to democracy. And that came out of, the Steve Bannon playbook. That came out of the disinformation that's being run on X. Germany is in chaos right now. I was in Germany meeting with the Social Democrats about a year and a half ago, and their biggest concern was Donald Trump coming back. They want consistent allies. So Europe's in chaos. France is in chaos. The UK is still picking up the pieces after Brexit. Canada, again, is a mid-sized power country right beside, we always said, the mouse sleeping beside the elephant. We've had to negotiate between bigger and sometimes more belligerent players. But right now, that world vision, that world order is disintegrating. What's happening in Ukraine is super frightening. And we've got a guy he's like a bad criminal character in Gotham, who's pressing all the buttons. I don't think he's all that focused on Canada. I think he's just trolling us. I think he's trying to divert attention from the chaos he's going to be unleashing very soon and has started to unleash in the United States. But for Canada, we need to buck up. We need to have a sense of commitment to put our nation ahead of our own partisan and party interests. And we have to be willing to lay down some hard tariffs, which we would do, I think, if we were coherent. Otherwise, it's going to be the policies of appeasement. And I'm very worried that we're going to try and buy Trump off with this, that, or the other. That is not going to satisfy that guy. Is he really thinking that our border is a fentanyl highway into the United States? I don't think even Donald's that dumb. I think he's just trolling us. So we have to step back and say, no, you want to negotiate with us? These are the terms. But these are not the terms that we would have negotiated on. Again, yeah, we had tough negotiations with Reagan. We had tough negotiations with Nixon. We had tough negotiations with Obama, with Biden. Those guys, that world is gone, and we have to deal with the chaos-seeking politics of the far right, which is undermining democracy everywhere. And I'm getting more and more worried that we're not putting on our game face and getting ready to go out there and scrap the way we're going to need to scrap.
Well, Charlie Angus, you've got the game face on, and I think you're leading the way right out there. And so we'll keep speaking to you, keep giving us updates on everything that's happening in Canadian politics and in Canada. Charlie Angus, member of the House of Commons. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. And again, I think what brings us together on both sides of the border is we got a big thug who's moving from Mar-a-Lago to Washington, and it's going to affect us all.
Yeah, I think that we need a pro-democracy movement that crosses borders, that's rooted in kind of international alliances.
Absolutely.
To stop this threat. Because as you said in the last video, that's what they did to bring this kind of right-wing neo-fascism to our shores. And they've been exporting it from other places as well, and now being exported from the United States into Canada. We'll keep on talking about this
we'll
more.
Keep talking.
Angus, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram @MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.